defence trying to handball the ball out as if it was Greg Williams and Dale Waitman combined. I mean, they've got to play simplistic footy to get the ball out of their defence before they graduate to the other stuff.
Second term underway. Kick smothered from Barlow's boot. Ibbotson gets the clearance for Fremantle. Matthew Pavlich not starting on the field for the start of the second term. Get a ball in.
Dwayne, I can tell you, he's just with the trainers, which is very close to me here, and just nodded to the trainer that he feels good to go. It feels good.
There's no one on Hill at all.
Matthew Primus continues to roll the dice. Hartlett just jumped onto him there at the last moment. Sandlands to Mzungu inside 50. Main. Trengove gets there first. Hacks it clear. Makes it Daniel Stewart's problem. Duffield close to the boundary. Out of play would have been a win for Port Adelaide. Ballantyne tries to keep it alive to Hill. Dumped. No prior opportunity. Ball up.
Well, that's not a bad option for Hartlett, who's been busy trying to shake off forward tags himself, playing across the half-back line. He's been shut down on, so it wouldn't be a bad option.
Down to Crowley. Bounce, beats Clark. Main, Neal. Locked up and taken out by Chaplin. Lockie Neal. There he is. Cowboy, as they call him. He's more scratcher to look at him than Cowboy, but I think if you're going to stick with a nickname, you'd probably take Cowboys, not scratchers. From the knock inside 50. De Boer attacks that nicely, shovels it out.
So this is a big quarter for Port Adelaide and for Freo. Port Adelaide, with the wind at their back, would be looking to really get into half-time with a 3 or 4 goal win.
Sandlands ran off. Sandlands used his body. Didn't look too bad from here. Umpire was a lot closer than us. Ran off the beneficiary. McCarthy.
Started well, McCarthy.
And that's almost as good as anything else.
Interesting stuff here at quarter time, Roo.
Yeah, Jacob Surgeon just doing a little bit of work there with the magnets.
Well, he is the surgeon, so he's doing the operating of the magnetic board. Jacobs. McCarthy, as you said, he started this game well. He started this season well at his new club. Duffield slaps it toward the line.
As Matty Pavlich has just come back on the field, so everything looks right there. He's got a strapping on the knee, so let's see if he can get around and play some good footy.
Flick down to Hill, gets away from Hartlett. Handball to Mundy, who's driven a bit. Stewart in his back a little. Umpire said not enough. Head first dive in. And it's not coming out of there in a hurry.
Well done.
No prior opportunity there, so he couldn't be dropping the ball, even though he did drop it. Renoff down to Broadbent. A drop kick out of the congestion. Barlow. McPhee. Waited for that to bounce, and Westhoff came hard. Phillips.
Straight to the spare.
So Duffield can get and go.
Reads it pretty well, Paul Duffield, as the extra play just peeled off that congregation.
Oh. Kick not so good. McFarlane made it okay. Ibbotson rolled it past Cassisi, went back, got it. Boak inboard. Young caught. He had Pryor there. Barlow wrapped him up, and he had time enough to have a look around. Aaron Young got the benefit of the doubt.
Just getting back to Paul Duffield, that's the one that Port Adelaide just need to be a lot smarter in their setup when going into the top of the square, because he is their setup player, and if they continue to do that, he'll rack up the possessions today.
Don't you love seeing that one from Sandlands? Two space. He's just got to hopefully have a couple of the clearance players read it a bit better.
Yeah, and the good thing about that too is if there's numbers getting in, every now and then if he gives it a whack, they're going to second guess that, and that's going to widen it up and spread open the contest.
Strange start to this contest. The crowd haven't really been able to make much of it yet. McCarthy with the breeze pushes that long, and Port Adelaide in front.
Let's see if they can lock it in here, Root. Port Adelaide push up. They've only got two numbers behind the centre because Fremantle are trying to stretch their zone a little bit, keeping Main and Pavlich back. Now Mundy going back. All the guys with tags on have the capacity to put some holes in the zone by taking their direct opponents away. They're going pretty much man on man here, Port Adelaide.
Duffield to the biggest of those men. Sandlands with Renouf, and he had the reach and the cleverness. Hand off to Pearce. He probably shouldn't have called for it. Hill. Broughton, look away, handball to Ibbotson. Caught.
Well, that was
play on. It looked a lot like holding the ball. Eben. McCarthy. Pops it up, hoping for Westhoff. And a one-on-one. Butcher.
Oh, well done, Butcher.
Made it a 2-on-2. Corns went hard, but he missed the ball. Johnson toward Main. Cassisi coming the other way to Phillips. Run down from behind. Good tackle from Main. He didn't fall on him. He dragged him back. Too good.
It's good work.
And 50.
Well, that puts him into range where if he just got it down there quickly, you've got Pavlich one out against Carlisle. Great chase, though. His work rate can never be questioned for mine.
No one on the mark. Pavlich back on. A shimmy, got an arm slap, and gets the free for goal number 498.
Has been a strange start to this quarter, as you said, Dwayne. Neither side looking like they're really jumping out of the blocks, but good to see the Pav back out in the field. Looks like he's moving okay, and the arm chop there's giving him an opportunity to kick another goal.
Kickable by his standards from here. He has missed a lot over time, some crucial misses. This is for the lead back from the 5. It bends, and bends back again. Fremantle in front.
It's taken a long time to get there, but now they're in front. So a psychological barrier has been broken. There's Phillips getting the ball forward. Great chase from Main. And it's that pressure that has underpinned the coaching philosophy of Ross Lyon. Now they go forward, get a tiny arm slap there from Adapati Carla. Gives away the free kick. Pavlich good enough to go forward. But right now the scoreboard's the issue. And the response of Port Adelaide will be critical.
Another indiscretion cost Port Adelaide, the 50-metre penalty. They can't roll the ball back. Throw it back on the full. Boak. Kick away. Port Adelaide get the clearance to half forward. Mzungu flicked that out accidentally, so not a throw. Barlow thrown. Ball up. Fremantle led early by a point, early stages of the first term. Port Adelaide took the lead early in the first term with a couple of goals in a row. Dockers back in front now. Scores will level at quarter time if you've just joined us. Bouncing ball to the outer side. Main starting to get a bit of it now. Broughton. Not his nicest kick. Port Adelaide could have raffled that. Jacobs pulls out the winning ticket.
Yeah, good defensive running from Jacobs.
Look out.
Chaplin. Well, he bounced that, and it bounced in an awkward position for him. Jacobs now misses it. Now Port Adelaide under pressure. Ballantyne. Tackle that wraps him up, brings him down. Umpire calls them to continue.
Well, great pressure there by Freo. Good chasing. They are really setting the standard for pressure in the forward 50. I think they're the best in the competition for causing stoppages inside their forward 50, and we've just seen in the last couple of minutes exactly why that's the case.
Yeah, Ballantyne and Lockie Neal working in tandem. Two midgets going at each other or at the opposition, working really well in tandem.
They've never been more important in the game, have they? Small forwards, not just for kicking goals, now for defensive pressure. They're just as important.
It went out of vogue for a while, being small, but if you can get the ball, doesn't matter how big you are. Ballantyne crashed to the deck, so too Pavlich. Roden rides. Another ball up. David Roden, who's had to earn his spot back in this team. Ross Lyon on screen, trying to remodel the Dockers. Pavlich takes it to the line. Change of ownership. Fremantle under Mark Harvey, 14th, 6th and 11th. So Ross Lyon has that standard to try and better in his first year at the club. Spur, slick. Johnson weaves some magic. Long to the square. Tringove, good reach.
Well, good move from Johnson, who's playing exactly the same position as Trengove. Rarely do they kick it to each other, but on this occasion they did.
Trengove, terrible kick to a 2-on-1. McPhee let it drop. Surgeon out of play, a victory for him. Mzungu keeps it in. Ballantyne, the perfect pass target.
Well, Trengove's going to be disappointed with that kick. I mean, that's unacceptable. He kicked to Jacob Surgeon, who's 5'6", onto two tall Fremantle players. He was never going to mark it. Of course, they've turned it over and it's gone back, and Ballantyne's going to have a shot on goal. So won't be happy at all with that, Trengove.
No, and then he spectated, and he saw the ball come back, go straight back to the bloke directly in front of him, who now has the ball.
Nice off the boot, and the crowd find voice. Fremantle out to their biggest lead of the game, 11 points.
Well, Ballantyne's firing them up out there now after he's kicked the goal. He's coming off for a rest, and Freo just starting to assert their influence here in the second quarter. 27 disposals to 18, 6 inside 50s to 3, and 2 goals to none. So Port Adelaide, they've been dropping out in parts of games so far this season. They need to get themselves back in the game here. They've got the wind at their back. They need to make the most of it and kick a goal pretty quickly.
He just can't help himself. He kicks the goal. He has to go to the dugout and has to bump into 4 Port Adelaide players. But the most worried bloke was the umpire. He just kept telling Hayden, just get off Hayden. So you know, never cease to amaze the young Ballantyne.
Every club needs a polariser, an antagoniser. I think Port Adelaide have missed Chad Corns and Dean Brogan this year. Flick to the back, Spur, McPhee, Duffield, all the way back to half-back McFarlane.
Josh Carr might come off the bench as their coach to do it.
Yeah, he's an assistant coach at the moment, Spur, and you remember him well. Main, half-forward. Pearce to De Boer, span into trouble.
I reckon I saw Josh Carr warming up.
Chaplin to Boak. He hasn't seen it for a while.
Oh.
Ebert, bang. Poor handball, set him up. Clark sized him up, and that's too high. Fremantle having a good run here. Finally, they've got their game going. Pearce to Hill, and he drives it wide.
It's got to be a bad footy, Dwayne. Check that football.
Port Adelaide going at 40% with the kick in this second quarter, so it's going to be a lot of turnovers if you don't hit, or if you hit less than 1 in 2.
Carlisle to Trengove. No, he missed him. Ibbotson back with the run. Takes on Logan to Main. Missed the target. Carlisle gets a chance to mop his mess up, and he makes a bigger one. Pavlich through his legs. And that 10 seconds won't make the time capsule. Stolen by Duffield against the run, and he rolls it across the face. Good result for Fremantle. Into the post, ball in.
Very ugly football.
Back into play. Sandlin's front spot. Flick down to Mundy. Tucked into the pocket. He misses.
Just allowing Mundy to have the space to run into, though, is pretty average work for him. Ebert there, he's got to push Mundy into the contest, not allow him to be pushed in, giving Mundy the opportunity to get out and have a snap at goal. Now, the psychological barrier was broken 5 minutes ago when Port Adelaide conceded the lead. And I reckon it's reflected, Rue, in their output. They've just allowed Fremantle to find another gear. They've got to reassert themselves and get that ball back into their forward line, get some score back on the board.
Sandlin's a flick down to Pearce to Mundy. Having an influence, as you mentioned. Chaplin back with the run. Saving mark. Corns on the open side.
Yeah, the jog's on here, Dwayne. The jog. Port Adelaide go from sprinting hard when they're in the game. As soon as the scoreboard ticks the wrong way, the jog starts.
It's the same jog you saw against Richmond last week.
Pretty much the same.
Logan to McCarthy.
They just got to get some leadership here and get some spirit.
I don't like how they look sideways first. They need to try and move the ball down the ground first. If there's nothing on, then go sideways to try and create something new. But at the moment, their first look is sideways, and that's going to make it very hard for the forwards.
Sits a little, and Stewart, third man up, pulls it down.
It takes a mark like that when you kick long to break it up.
Port Adelaide still kicking with a slight breeze in this second term, but Fremantle kicked the only 2 goals of the quarter. Daniel Stewart to half forward, and again, no one home. Sandlands can't mark it. Dumps it. Roden sprints clear. Hands to Broadbent, back to Roden. Run down. Main. Fantastic tackle by Main. Dispossessed. Mzungu to Clark. Can they make something of it? He's got Crowley on the run. Long ball in his direction. Needs to sit kindly. Bounced unkindly. Kasisi, Jacobs, Chaplin, McCarthy.
Good kick.
No one to go to, and no one pushing deep.
Roden's in the middle. He wants the short. He goes back. Chaplin.
You wouldn't want to be a forward in the Ports team at the moment with their style of play. They're just not dangerous at all. They're not taking it to the opposition. They're playing into the hands of Fremantle by doing this.
Trengove told to go, heads to Westhoff, their forward who has to come down to the wing. Gathers his own crumb, but spins into Clark. Caught. No prior opportunity, so no free. Glenn Jakovic.
Just an important part of the game here is recipe for success. As you can see, you need to win all three of these. You win 96% of the game, and you can see the top two there, Fremantle. Contested possessions 59, and effective disposal 72%. So they're tracking quite well at the minute, Fremantle.
Ballantyne dragged down, holding the ball, and Westhoff's going to have to come off here. He got one from Clark. We'll try and pick it up, but Westhoff, I think he's been stung. Got one to the ear. There's a couple of players in the hands of trainers at the moment. Fremantle have De Boer in the hands of trainers as well. Corns wide. Broadbent with the fly.
Better pressure, though, from Port Adelaide. They worked as a team to get the ball back. Now they're working in transition to see if they can get it down there, but skill's letting them down.
Phillips takes on McFarlane. An arrogant bounce. Hits the Renoff. Not the runner he wanted. Forced to hand it to Roden. There's the runner they wanted. That's a throw.
And 50.
No, I'm not sure you can give 50 there.
Yeah.
Well, the whistle didn't blow before he kicked it. If you kick it before the whistle.
I thought it did, but that's okay. It was tight.
It was.
Better effort, though, from Port Adelaide. Found a little bit more energy.
McFarlane tried to around behind the mark. Johnson. 18 minutes gone, second term. Out of side, Ebert got a toe on that, and that could be out on the full. No. We're a long way from it. That looked like a Fremantle ball. Sandlands and Renoff. Surgeon. Roden. Spur. Caught, no prior opportunity, of course. Ball up. Lee Spur, know a few of these players well. Mature age recruit from Central Districts. Played in 3 premierships there in the SANFL. I know a few of the Port Adelaide boys extremely well. Flick down to Mzungu. And here he is, Spur on cue. Ridden high. Lee Spur gets the free in game 2. Mundy.
And good movement here.
Clark can get and go.
Keeps getting better with every outing, Zach Clark.
Pavlich the target. Has the reach. Back of the pack. Hill went off the deck. Missed it. Kasisi through his legs. Party tricked in the pass. Corns. And again, nowhere to go too quickly. Paul Stewart.
Jared, I reckon Zach Clark, you were talking about before, in 18 months, are we going to be the best ruckman in the competition?
Cool.
Big call from the Fremantle fisherman.
So he'll pass Sandlands.
Because he's a goal kicker. He actually goes down and he's kicked a few goals. His form at East Perth the last couple of years as a development player has been sensational.
High towards the wing. Daniel Stewart flies and Tringo stole it from him. Then he ducks through a tackle. Lucky to get away with it. Daniel Stewart wrapped up. Umpire tells him to get it out. Phillips got it out. Straight to Broughton, to Ibbotson. And playing in front, Alapate Carlisle. Stewart made that impossible for Kasisi. Clancy Pearce, he can smell some blood here. Wraps him up, ties him up. It's between his legs. The crowd roar. they get what they're after.
Well, Jared, you said it before. Port Adelaide want to play a style of football that they're not capable of playing at the moment. Their skills, I mean, that was a bad mistake by Paul Stewart, and he's better than that. But when you flirt around with small kicks deep in defence like that, you need to hit your targets. And if you cough it up like that, you're going to cough up a goal.
Matthew DePaul got a cut above the right eye, and he's just on the boundary line. He's had the attention by the doctors. He'll be back on the ground in seconds.
Thanks, Glenn. Clancy Pearce yet to miss a shot at goal this year. He's kicked 5 straight. For the biggest lead of the game to either team, never in doubt from there. Fremantle out to an 18-point advantage.
Now, Matty Primus can't have a lot to do with a bad kick that cost the team a goal, but you question the game plan that Matty Primus and his coaching staff have got in play if players continually go sideways across the back line instead of going forward. So
yeah, they're trying to play a high possession game. Let's take a look at the injuries to the ball. They've just got a nick from a stray elbow going straight across the brow, and then Westhoff as well getting a little bit of forearm work.
There is the ball with the nick, and Westhoff got the ear massage from Clark, who wins the ruck, knocked down to Barlow. And they are hot right now, the Dockers. That's a play on advantage if they want it, and they don't want it. Umpire doesn't let them have it. Neil's ball.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks, tonight. That's fine, Matthew. Just landed in his back.
10 inside 50s to 4 in this quarter.
This way, yeah.
In favour of Freo.
Neil about to launch them again, straight down the middle. Pavlich can't get the jump, and he stays down and crumbs to Hill, to his own advantage, to the boundary.
Yeah, they're dominating all statistics here. Contested possessions well up. The clearances are 10 to 6. Tackles are 24 to 16. Really dominating here in the second quarter, Freo.
We've got a couple of stars that have lifted their rate. Clark just flicks that down. Pearce couldn't make something of it. And stars are what Port Adelaide essentially lack. They've got no real champions in their team. No automatic Hall of Famers come the end of their careers like Pavlich will be. Sandilands, you would think, will be. And Hill rising with every game. Port Adelaide haven't got the Treadray or the Corns at the moment. The Chad Corns to take control of the game. Chaplin straight down the middle.
That's just a hoof. That is just no thought given to that kick.
And McFarlane from 60 loads up, goes long. On the line, Daniel Stewart marks it.
Which is disappointing. Troy Chaplin, a far better player than that, Roo. He knew he had some space.
Tried to kick it tall.
And Jared, to add to that, Cassisi, Corns giving away 50-metre penalties. You talk about leadership. This is where the senior players of Port Adelaide have got to stand up, or else this game's going to blow out very shortly.
Butcher thumps it down. Boak, Broadbent, McCarthy, Westhoff.
Nice
Good
ball.
thump. Zach Dawson fisting away.
Good transition. Much better from Port Adelaide. Incapable of doing anything about that. It was a great kick. It was the only kick on option, but there's the mung. I mean, that is just fraught with danger and no advantage in taking the extra 3 metres with a torpedo.
Daniel Stewart with the flick down. Phillips rounded up quickly. In for his first game of 2012 this week, Simon Phillips. Flicks it back, so they've been making some changes to try and resurrect their season. Port Adelaide coming to this having lost 5 games in a row after a win in round 1 over the Saints. Pearce, Muzungu, Broughton and Mundy.
Good tackle usually now. The class is coming to the fore.
Crowley to De Boer from 60. Clever to Pavlich. And here's the hot man. Go back and slot another.
Well, he had one in front, one at back, and neither of them read it that well. They didn't cover for each other. And Matthew Pavlich just ran backwards, then did a duck back, a la Jason Dunstall, and cruised into some space. But the real class came from Mundy off the back of the stoppage. He was the one who set up the clearance.
Yep. For goal 499 for Matthew Pavlich.
Yep.
And he gets one closer to the magical 500.
Well, he certainly flushed that one. That was just a class piece of play. The best piece of play from Freo today. Here's Mzungo getting the ball out nicely. Broughton as well. Smart little chip. All players involved, and this is just a really smart kick.
It was.
Pavlich, well, he split 3 Port Adelaide players.
It's 12 clearances to 6 in this second quarter. Port Adelaide need to win the ball around the stoppages.
It's almost not worth kicking a goal these days.
And you spoke about David Mundy. He had a delayed start to the season, up to 9 possessions, starting to show his class. Starting to get a little bit better in his match fitness, expecting to get better as this game goes on.
So Pavlich kicks his third, comes straight to the bench. Crowley hands it up. Paul Stewart. Logan. Port Adelaide under some pressure now to stay in this contest. Late in this second term, McCarthy inboard. Young edged under it. Cassisi ducks out of an attempted tackle to Ebert, to Aaron Young, and he takes them on. Heads to Broadbent. Splendid pass.
Well, that was better. That was attacking by Port Adelaide. There was a bit of a risk by McCarthy going long through the centre of the ground, but it came off, and they put Freo under extreme pressure, and they need to go back, Matty Broadbent, here and kick this goal.
Line's good.
They are on life support right now, Port Adelaide, in this game. A trail by 24. It's been all Fremantle in this second term for the first goal of the quarter, and he can't give them the heart starter. And that is deflating.
Is there a Ross line factor in the lead though, Dwayne? Does the 23-point deficit, do we multiply that by 1.6 or 2.3, and the real deficit's about 7 goals? Or is it actually this tight?
I think it is this tight.
Okay.
Jared, there's a lot of football to be played yet, and Port Adelaide have played not much football in the second quarter. Corns, Logan,
Leave the next goal before half-time. They've got 2 minutes to go.
Or not concede one. Maybe. But concede one, and it might be death row. 45-22. And if you have joined us late, scores will level at quarter time, and Port Adelaide led by 2 goals in the opening term. Westhoff's got 4 to beat. Duffield flies, knocks it across the line.
It's 4 goals to nothing in this quarter, and Port Adelaide are kicking with the win. So this is a repeat of last week's a very, very poor second quarter.
They're not going to kick many goals if they kick the ball high like that and allow Paul Duffield to just come and clear the contested area.
But they've got it where they want it, Jacko, and they've got a nice old stoppage here. They've just got to actually rove to Aaron Sandlands.
Limited opportunities, but they need to find a couple of ball winners to kick goals. I'd like to see David Roden be thrown in there. He can excite, but he can cause some problems to Fremantle's defence. Make him a bit more accountable. Can't have Paul Duffield just zoning off.
Sandlands flicks it down. Broadbent flicks it out. Throw according to the umpire. Umpire gives in the no way. Brett Ritchie.
Well, the chief football writer for the Adelaide Advertiser is going to join us at half-time, Dwayne, who certainly put a fire underneath Port Adelaide this week, Roo.
Yeah, he hasn't missed Matty Primus one little bit.
Little fumble from Spur. And that's high, perhaps, on Aaron Young.
And he's a Port Adelaide supporter.
He called for Matthew Primus to walk, didn't he?
Yeah, at the end of the year.
Okay, we'll find out whether there's any extension to that call at half-time. Young floats. Westhoff back in the pack. Paul Stewart taps it over the top. Not good enough. De Boer stole it. Johnson, back pocket. Fremantle with all the answers right now. 1 minute from half-time. Chaplin can't hold that one. Taken to the line by Duffield.
Yeah, and Chaplin a bit stiff there. Matthew Pavlich gave him a little hand in the back, and Chaplin rightly asking the umpire, what about me? He missed out. It was his for sure.
Ran off front spot, but again, Sandlands has the reach, and he gets a possession for his trouble to Crowley. Fremantle can smell another one here late. Pavlich back on, but he wasn't on when he marked that.
At that last clearance, the midfielders were in the wrong spot. It's very obvious where it was going to get hit, and there was 3 Fremantle midfielders sitting right underneath.
Trengove to Ebert to Logan on the open side. Down to 30 seconds. Ebert has Jacob short.
Thanks, Michael.
Rui, you mentioned before, when they get the ball, they look sideways immediately, which you're disappointed about. But they had a couple of options to go through the middle of the ground in this passage of play, but just didn't have the confidence to hit them up.
Oh, gee, that's dangerous. And Neil's hurt himself. Daniel Stewart protected himself with the knee, and that was straight into the ribcage of Neil, who's down and has not moved.
Yeah, they hurt. That hurts.
He does have a right to protect himself with the knee. Wasn't malicious. Half-time, bittersweet half-time siren for Fremantle. They hold a handy lead after an impressive second term. They kicked 4 goals to Port Adelaide's no goals in this second quarter. There it is. And bang, the double whammy.
Right on the hip pointer, that one would have hurt.
Fremantle lead by 23 points after trailing by a couple of goals early in the opening term. Still in the hands of trainers. Ben Jakovic about to haunt one of the Port Adelaide players to find out exactly what is going wrong with the power. And let's head downstairs to him now.
Troy, you got up to a good start, but then you just fell away.
Yeah, look, first quarter was really good, but just at the end there, we're just trying to be too cute in the back half. Skills, missing our targets, have really put us under the pressure.
Matthew Primus, who was boisterous at quarter time, what was his message leading into the second quarter?
He just said the first 20 minutes was really good. Our effort and intensity was great, and then we just got back into our shell and worried about ourselves too much. So we need to keep that pressure up. We're playing some okay footy, but as I said, just the turnovers are killing us at the moment. They're just getting scores off it too easy.
Thanks for joining us. Good luck for the second half.
Big half-time coming up here. We'll check on the welfare of Lachie Neale. We'll find out on the future of Port Adelaide coach Matthew Primus. And we'll give you a rundown of what's happened in this round so far. Half-time, Fremantle in control by 23 points.